Got another book review here. It's A Year of Living Biblically by A.J. Jacobs. It's kind of an older book. It came out in 2007. I was recommended it by a friend because I have kind of a lot of questions about religion and the afterlife and that sort of thing. I've been kind of curious about that for a while. And the friend told me that, this would be a really interesting book to read because he goes into kind of why some of the things in Christianity are done the way they are, and where some of the ideas and concepts kind of come from. And he does. Um, Overall, it is an interesting book. Um, it's another one of those do something for a year and then write about it books. Those used to be really, really popular. It's kind of like a Morgan Spurlock kind of thing, but stretched out over a year. Uh, the author is this guy, A.J. Jacobs, who, this is a side note, but I think he kind of looks a little bit like the guy from The Office who played the temp. I think his name was Ryan. But I think he just kind of looks a little bit like him, especially without the beard. I don't know, it's something about the hair and the smile. Or maybe it's just the eyes. I don't know. Anyway, it's a side note. He's a very liberal Jewish man from New York. And it kind of comes through like a lot. Like, I understand, you are who you are and you feel how you feel about things. And sometimes that sort of seeps in, especially with something like this. This is somewhat memoir. Um, each chapter is pretty much a month of his journey, and it's got a picture of him, doing something, usually dressed in his robe or showing you how full his beard's gotten. Um, I understand, like I was saying, that your life and your viewpoints kind of influence, your writing, and it seeps in when you're writing something sort of memoir based like this. But it does get to be a little much at times. Um, I do think he should have sort of divorced his own sort of viewpoints and liberal leanings and stuff a little more from the project. I just think it would have made it a lot stronger. Um, Overall, he's kind of fair about showing both sides of most arguments, most stances. I do think he was a little more fair with some of the elements that he agreed with. Like, it seemed like with conservative Christians, he was a little less fair. That's probably about all I'll say, because I don't know. You can read it and see what you think, but that's just sort of the opinion I got. Um, it is interesting. I learned a few things. Like a lot of historians believe that the forbidden fruit in Genesis could have been an orange because they actually had oranges in the Middle Eastern region that a lot of people believe the Garden of Eden was in. Apples didn't exist there at the time. Um, they were brought in much, much later. I will say he kind of oversimplified elements of conservative Christian, like religion as well. Like he didn't go into the different denominations, and how they differ, like Baptist, Methodist, Pentecostal, all that. He did that more so with Jewish sects. Um, he does sort of justify things sometimes that I think were influenced more by sort of his political leanings than anything else. I don't know if the author even meant to do this. I think maybe, because it does seem like he tried, but it did kind of come through. Um, Overall, it's a good book. It's interesting. It's even if you're not religious, it's sort of fun to see how things got to be the way they are, why people view things the way they do. But I don't know. I did feel like it fell flat at times as well, and the author's humor does kind of fall flat sometimes as well. It's an okay book. I'd recommend reading it, I guess, but I don't really know that I'd read it twice. So I'll just leave it at that. Year of Living Biblically.